For the first time last September, a 6-week women's ordination retreat was held outside the UK at Il Convento in Tuscany in northern Italy. This old convent was first used in the early 1980s for men's ordination retreats.
It was interesting and it was very positive to be ordained in a context that was nothing like I could ever have imagined it to be, you know. So I couldn't really, any assumptions that I had about an ordination retreat or about an actual ordination, it didn't bear any resemblance to that. It was completely other than any of my other experience of being on retreat, both in it, you know, it being 6 weeks long and it being in a completely different and new environment.
It made a difference. Well, just leaving the country, leaving England and flying to Italy was all part of it. And well, yeah, entering a new culture with a different language, different climate, different countryside. All of that did, well, it did feel like we were entering into a different realm. In some ways, a more mysterious and magical realm.
I felt that I was stepping out of my life and out of all the things that I knew and knew to be around me and to be habitual, and just into this incredibly different and exciting space.
I didn't quite know why before I got there, but once I was there I just really did realise what an experience of going forth it was. Being away from all my familiar surroundings, my friends, my home. And actually I didn't even have a particularly good friend on that retreat with me. So I think the significance was feeling quite strong and knowing that I could do it. And so, in a way, knowing that in another situation I would again be strong like that.
I really loved the fact that there had been men's ordination retreats there. It gave a sense of lineage, that this place was a place of spiritual practice, and it took different forms over different years. And there were little signs of the men having been there in the past, which I really liked. Like, one of the things was, there was, in the cloisters, there was one flagstone that had Om Mani Padme Hum painted on it in Sanskrit, and it was sort of like, oh yes, you know, that we're here.
It was quite different going on a long retreat. And for myself at least, I felt thoroughly ordained, if you see what I mean. You know, I was ordained about in the middle of the retreat, even slightly earlier to the middle. So I had plenty of time afterwards to get more familiar with that experience. I think it'd be wonderful to go on a longer retreat. And it's changed my idea about what I want to do with my life, because I'd certainly like to experience some long retreats sometime. I don't really know what the whole effect of that retreat is, but I do know it was very beneficial, just being able to be in a much more positive mental state over a long period of time. And I think if people were able to do that over, 3 months, 4 months, that would really set them up for their life in the order.
But how it will be in the future, if we have somewhere, in a way that the men have got Gukya Loka for their ordinations, who knows what it'll be like. It'll be different. It'll be different to Gukya Loka, and it'll be different from how Il Convento was.
I think it would be wonderful for women to have that opportunity to just have our own retreat centre, because Il Convento, even though it was lovely in many ways, it wasn't very secluded and it was quite noisy. So having somewhere maybe more like Gukya Loka, which is very secluded, I think would just help people immerse themselves in that whole way of life more. And then just building on it year after year, knowing that there'd be more and more women coming every year, I think would, have a very good effect.
If we can see any of the fruits of this longer retreat for women at the Il Convento, then those fruits must be many times more if we had a permanent centre.